This is not a podcast.
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 This is not a podcast, but it's a broadcast on IG and YouTube to make y'all laugh. To make y'all laugh.
That's some real life shit.
To make y'all laugh.
Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Holly Bugs.
Yeah, it's your boy Watts.
It's your boy Grizzly Green,
And this is not a podcast.
Yeah.
And today,
we got a legend.
we got a legend in the building. Legendary. Johnny Nunez in the building.
Let's go.
Johnny.
Yeah, he's in the building.
What's up, Johnny, man? How you doing?
I'm chilling, man. I thank you for having me. You know,
We thank you for coming out here.
man.
this neighborhood.
Thank you.
It's an honor. It's an honor to have you on the show, man. You're a legendary person in hip
Thank
hop
you, brother.
culture, man. You're
Thank
part
you.
of the hip hop culture.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, like we said, you know, part of the thing we're gonna start off with some trending topics. What's going on in the world?
Yes.
I think the first thing we got to, unfortunately, is sad news, right? We talk about the Jet Set nightclub in DR, man, with
Dominican
the roof collapsing,
Republic.
man. Dominican Republic, man. It's so sad, man. Well, how that affected? One of the there was like a famous
A
singer.
couple
salsa singer.
baseball players.
Yeah, there was some
baseball
baseball players.
Like three of them actually. Two retired ones, and I think one that's still playing. Actually,
Yeah, I know. Octavio Dotel was one of them baseball players. He was on the Yankees.
300 and something. All the stuff came. They gave him like some crazy money.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
340 million to play, and it was tragic.
Johnny, you remember the singer's name that was there?
I think it was. I want to say
Mike a little closer. Mike closer.
Ruben.
Put it, you got Johnny, pick up the mic.
Oh,
yeah.
Ruby. Was it? Ruby?
Yeah,
Ruby.
Yeah,
Ruby.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that's that song.
He had another. He had another joint.
Yeah, that was him that sang that though.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Man,
I didn't know that.
That was my dude, man.
So you knew him?
Didn't meet him personally, but he was on Dykeman last week performing.
Before that, yeah, damn.
So I was at Happy Monkey,
Yeah.
and my cousin Vlad and
Shout out to Happy
Ramon
Monkey.
and Jay.
What was
them,
that? Yeah.
yeah, he was not far from there performing. Then went there, and one of my friends showed me like a sad video. Of,
Yeah.
like, when I guess it was collapsing, people were just wondering like, what is it? And they thought it was like a fight or commotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just proceeded to perform along with a bunch of people. But whoever had the camera,
Yeah.
next thing you know, like he's under rubble with all of them. And he's like screaming and yelling, but he's still recording.
Yeah, man. Super
Yeah,
sad, man.
yeah, our
you
prayers
know.
goes out to
Our
all
prayers
the
goes out to
families.
families, everybody that was affected by that for sure, man.
And the crazy part about that is that could be anywhere, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
for example, you could be on vacation and you just want to
Yeah.
go see him perform,
Right,
and you're
right.
there. That's the last thing
But
you're
that's
thinking
what
about.
happened. There was he's been in the industry for a long time, and he's like one of the oldies. So
Right.
all the old like
that shit was
mom,
packed.
grandma,
Right.
your parents are going to go watch that. They said mad families passed away. Like grandmothers, fathers, grandfathers, even it was
280 something people.
already. Supposedly like 400.
Yeah, it was one of the biggest clubs in DR too. So you know, it was jumping. Sad, man. So again, man,
and it got
sit down.
burned before or something like that.
Yeah?
They were saying, yeah. So what happened was that it got burned down, and they didn't
They didn't
break
really-
down. They rebuilt it off of what they had already.
Got you. So they
And they
put a band-aid on it instead of
basically, and
Damn.
he's upgrading it, putting everything heavy on top. There's nothing really holding the
Yeah, I
the
heard that there
walls
was two
like
like
that.
big ass generators on the ceiling.
huge. Like this place was huge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So to put all that like on top of the roof and knowing you didn't fix the foundation. I mean, there's probably more to it that we don't know about. But I heard they taking them to court. That's a whole
Yeah, of
crazy
course. That's
lawsuit.
definitely 100%.
Crazy, yo. Yo, again, shout out to
Shout out to everybody that we lost our condolences.
And not to keep it sad, but without the helicopter crash,
Right. It just
another
happened.
one.
Yeah.
Another one. Right there on the Hudson.
On the Hudson too, man.
You
Shit's
know
going
what's
on.
interesting about that though?
Yeah.
A friend of mine, I won't tell you, but she showed me an article that was online. Google the dude who was
crashed?
there with his wife and children. Apparently,
I love this.
He's ahead of
like
some
the
shit.
like the same insurance CEO that got murked.
Said insurance.
He was on his way to testifying and bringing down a lot of big niggas. Too.
There it is.
It's all over the internet.
There it is.
one of those
Shout out
guys,
there,
Johnny.
How I'm not up on that.
Yeah, so look, man, Grizzly Green over here. He loves, like, he's deep into that. What's going on? Like, is there a reason? Whatever. I'm surprised he wasn't up on that.
It's funny because my wife pointed out to me. I sent it to my. No, I didn't send it to my. I told my wife that I saw the video and it was flying, and then all of a sudden it nosedived.
Yeah.
And then I said, it's interesting because if a helicopter went down or if a plane went down into the water, there's a 99% chance that there could be a survival.
Yeah.
Because of if it was an impact, like I can understand. But this just gradually went down.
Right.
And then everyone died immediately.
Right.
So that's sort of like just
Things that
I don't want to get
make it
anybody
go
in trouble.
Yeah,
Just read up on it. You
Things
can
that
see
make it go.
that guy was in big trouble.
Yeah.
with,
I just watched a video
Interesting. Very
before I came here, and they said that what had happened is that the main propeller, it looks like it hit the tail
Okay.
and split that in half, and then with that impact,
That's
the
what made
rotors,
made it go
the-
straight
yeah,
down.
the
you see
rotor
how
came
does
off.
all the
that-
debris.
How does
coming
that
out.
happen?
Right.
They said a few things. They said that it could be the way the pilot flies, and if it does any what's that called?
Zero gravity.
G force. If it's too much, it can bend.
Okay.
And then it could cut the rotors. But now that you're saying that, I got to look into
that's
that.
very interesting.
I didn't hear that.
Oh yeah.
Now, we definitely gotta look into Al. Gotta get up on it.
Apparently,
Too.
he was like a big, like, let's just say, I don't know, but let's say commodity trades.
Right.
He's part of a group that were investigated, and he was like soon to give testimony against the whole team. You can Google it.
I'll
ask,
look
I'll
that
ask the
up.
person to send me.
Yeah,
the
we gotta look it
information.
up for sure.
I got to look that up
crazy,
for sure.
All right, well, let's get some other less eerie news, right? How about what do we think about Gayle King and Katy Perry on them go to space, man? You see that? They took they took the rocket ship to space.
went already?
Listen,
They went already. They went what was it yesterday, right? I think it was 2 days ago.
Yesterday?
They dipped
Yeah.
yesterday?
Yeah. There's video of
I
them.
didn't get that call.
Yeah, Bezos said hit you up, bro.
Bezos and hit me. That means he ain't up there.
Yeah, no, he didn't go.
It was all girls.
It was all female, all
Oh,
females
shit.
only. All females. That's how.
Shout out.
That's
They
how
setting
party.
it up.
It was that type of
They
party.
setting it up. Yo, I'm telling you, listen. They ain't believe me, but about a week ago, we saw a post that they built in a hotel on the moon.
Facts in space.
Right in space, sorry, not on the moon.
I forgot what
In space.
episode it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
In space.
gave your opinion
Did
on
I not
that.
say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they just setting up there? What they doing up
Yo,
there?
man, I don't know.
Come on, bro.
The question I have, Johnny, if you could go to space,
To take pictures.
would you go?
Yeah, I would. I mean,
Damn.
Gayle King is a really good friend of mine, and I know Katy Perry from when she started her career. But to get out of the orbit or to go into space,
That must be unreal.
But at the same time, I would be a little worried,
I'd be worried.
I mean, it's like a 50-50.
Right.
But who knows, man? Like we I don't want to, I'm a regular human being, I'm a Christian, but there's
Let's
just
go.
so much out there in the universe.
Right.
Yeah.
We haven't even scratched the surface.
Facts. Bro. So let's see. So right, speaking of scratch the surface, let's get into a little bit about you, Johnny. So for the viewers that are watching the show that don't know about you, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about your journey, man. What do you do? Who is Johnny Nunez?
Man,
The legend, the legend.
I was
Legendary.
I'm African American. I was adopted by Puerto Ricans, and
Shout out to Boricua.
I'm black, Venezuelan, and Chinese.
Okay.
So you mix those three together, you get Dominican. So, but I was
Dominican.
I was
I was- yeah.
I was born and raised in Brooklyn, Greenpoint,
Okay.
and I grew up in a Puerto Rican household, and then my neighborhood was all Italian and Polish and Irish immigrants, and I'm so old that I literally used to still talk and hang out with Holocaust survivors.
Oh shit.
And so that's how Brooklyn was at the time for me, but it was still racist. It was horrible being the only black Latino in that neighborhood. Then when my father showed me my adoption papers, I couldn't believe that I was like, I knew I was something, but I didn't know I was black.
Right.
And I knew I was black, but I didn't know I was like growing up in a Puerto Rican household. So then when we moved to Brentwood, Long Island, my best friend took me and his whole entire family. They were Dominican.
Okay.
So my mother had passed away when I was 10. and I had not spoken Spanish since her death. And then my best friend's mom said, "We're gonna reteach you here." So literally, the Tejeda family brought me under their wing, and I was like my second family. So then, I went to college, a community college in Brentwood, Long Island, and just as I was getting ready to graduate with an associate's degree, one of my good friends, Sammy Pizarro, his father was a radiologist.
Okay.
So going to their house, they had like Roman pillars in front of their double garage house, had an in-ground pool. Back then, for me, you had an in-ground pool, you was rich. You know what I'm saying?
Not so right now. It's
right
like,
now,
still
so I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll be a radiologist and take X-rays of broken bones and stuff like
still
that.
taking pictures.
So that's what I thought, and so me being me, one thing growing up in my household was that my mother was she was an angel. So throughout my whole life, we fed the homeless, and we did as much charity as we could. So, based on the merit of my volunteering with homeless people and my academics, I enrolled or I applied to Nassau Community College for their radiology program. But I filled the wrong application. I filled out the application for radiation therapy oncology.
Oh shit!
So on my first, out of 400, I was one of the 22 selected. Wow! So I go to the first
by
day
mistake
for the wrong application, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, isn't this X-rays?" It's like, "No, this is the treatment of cancer with the usage of radiation." So I'm like, "What?" And I was like, "What's the difference?" And like, about $120,000. I'll stay. I'll stay. Don't worry, I'm good. Yeah. So 3 years into it, and about 3 months before graduation, at a hospital, I won't say at the moment, I saw a racially charged assault on a patient.
Oh wow!
I made a complaint and I got kicked out.
Oh wow!
And I went back to doing what I had to do to get through college, which was delivering pizza. I was a home health aide. And I'm going to give you the short version of it because it can get intense.
Right.
But let's just say I was given an opportunity from a friend of mine to work in his street pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
And my one of my ex-girlfriend's mom really loved me and said, "Johnny, I made your favorite dish. Come over to the house. Let's talk." At the time now, I was homeless, living in a car, and I had lost the girlfriend I was dating. And the landlord I had told me that I had to leave because someone was paying her more money for the room I had. And I just was so embarrassed because my dad, the way I was raised, is very, very proud family.
Right.
So there's like failure is not,
it's not an option,
question. Yeah.
Right.
And, I always say this in all the interviews. The rhinoceros is one of the very few animals that in the world that don't know how to walk backwards. So that was sort of like my family mantra. You go forward, you don't go backwards.
Don't go back. Nice.
And I couldn't tell my dad that. So I packed up all my stuff and I lived in my Mazda 323, finding dead ends and, any safe area to sleep at night. And then in the morning, I would just take a shower and eat at friends' houses and bathe and bath and stuff. And then go about my day, just trying to figure it out. Right. Thank God it didn't last too long. But once I was given that opportunity to get into the world of that world, I said, while at my ex-girlfriend's mom's place, she made a bed for me and said, "Look, Johnny, I don't know what you're going through, but tonight you sleep here. You got the food there. There's still some clothes here from when you were dating my daughter." And she closed the door and I said, "God, tomorrow, if you give me an idea, I swear I'll be the best at it." And at the time, I was reading a book by Anthony Robbins called Unlimited Power.
Anthony Robbins.
And I said, "Come tomorrow morning, if I don't have an idea, I'm going to go sell drugs and kill people in Jesus' name." Straight up. The next morning when I woke up, I saw a camera in the air. And I was just like, wow. And at the time, I didn't even drink. So I was like, what is that, a camera? And I saw it very, very, like the way this mic is in my hand.
Yeah.
And I went to grab it. And it disappeared. So now I was like, whoa, I must have been super tired. Then all of a sudden it reappeared. And then I saw greeting cards and it all fell down. So I quickly tried to grab it again. Yeah. And my hand went through it and it was like translucent. It was there. My hand was going through it and then all of a sudden it disappeared. So I said, "God, if you want me to be a photographer, right now I don't have no money.
Right.
I don't even know anything about photography. But if you want me to be a photographer,
Give me that camera for free.
Give me
Drop that camera.
Drop that camera for real. Stop playing with me.
I said, give me one more sign and I won't bother you for a while. So in my faith, the Holy Spirit came down. It came down on me and I was like, whoa. I felt like super energy. I was like, what is that? And I know I met God before, twice before that effect. One was when I was being assaulted to death. A group was trying to murder me. But thank God, shout out to Soda. One of my boys saved my life. Shout out so, long story short, I asked God for that idea. And within the first 3 months, I borrowed a camera from one of my boys, Jose Santana. He let me borrow his camera. And I started to practice in the city. One thing led to another. I was in the nightclub shooting. And by the end of that year, I made close to $100,000.
Nice.
With no knowledge whatsoever.
Nice,
Baby,
man.
let's
Shout out
go.
to
That was
that.
in 97.
Man. Keep moving forward. In 97.
So that's count for inflation. How much is that? Like 500,000,
Yeah, right now.
600,000?
Yeah, right now.
That allowed me to
balling.
get out of the
Indoor
car.
pool.
Indoor pool status. He got your own indoor pool.
It was amazing.
Maybe not the pillars, but the indoor pool for sure.
Nah, that's dope, man. That's
Damn,
dope.
that's crazy.
Gag, I want to ask the question that we were talking about earlier, as far as like what gave you the I would say courage, but also like how did you know where to go to take these pictures and to be in these places? Like I see you everywhere, Johnny.
Yeah,
And
for
everybody,
real.
you're
We see you
everywhere.
everywhere.
How do you know where to be, man?
And how could you be in all those places?
Yeah, how could you be in all those places, man?
It's a mathematics to it. For me, shout out to Riggs Morales if you know who he is.
Okay.
Shout out to him.
I started to photograph. God blessed me by allowing me to have an exhibit of my work in a restaurant.
Okay.
A lot of it was fake it till you make it kind of negotiations.
Okay.
But within the first 3 months of owning a camera, I was already asked to have an exhibit of my work. And I was like, what the hell? I don't have money I was still working on getting the money, but and I said, yeah, I could do it. I can get an exhibit together. And sure enough, because I lived in Brentwood, there was a town called Hall Park, which is like an industrial type of town. And it just so happened that a few, sort of like this area is an industrial area. Right. There was a printer, a framer. And the framer only charged me $12 per print.
Yeah.
So I was like, $12, that's all? And then the prints were made by a friend of mine. So literally within a few hundred, with a couple $100, I had my first exhibit on Avenue A, and everyone that went to the restaurant was called Mecca.
Okay.
It was between First and Second Avenue, Houston and First. And
those streets, baby.
First.
And so all the people that would come there, my boy Fahim would say, he was the general manager, Johnny, come to the store, you have to replenish the wall because somebody bought one of your prints. I'm like, word? So little by little, people were calling, or rather people were purchasing them, and I was only selling them for like $90 or $60. So every time I went there, I'd meet an editor. One time I met an editor from The Source. Another time I met an editor from the Vibe magazine, and they said, come by the office tomorrow. Let me introduce you to the photo editor.
Yeah.
And before you know it, I met Riggs Morales, and they were like, if you give us a good photo, we'll give you $85. I was like, $85? What? So I was in the nightclubs shooting everything from Maria Davis events to the Tunnel. You name the nightclub.
Yo, the budget.
Yeah.
Yo, the budget.
So I shot so many events.
Yeah. I want to. You got any good total stories that you could stay on air, man?
No, tons. Just being there and also at times seeing Peter Gation, who also owned the Limelight. He had lost an eye in hockey, but he's a notorious, promoter. Think he's not allowed to come back to the U.S. But him.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to Limelight. Limelight was an Avalon and shit that's over there.
He was a Don Dada.
That was that.
He was a big homie in the nightlife. So I would get access to all these clubs and shoot celebrities and become friends with them. And, by the time the month ended and I submitted images to Getty and The Source, I would make in 1 month like maybe $1,200 to $1,600 just off of photos. So little by little, I was just grinding and doing magazine ads. And, like I said, first year of not even knowing anything to make that much money, And now I had a place to stay, and it was just crazy. It was
What a blessing that's
Right,
dope.
yeah, for
God
real,
is
for
good
real.
all the time.
God is definitely
you know?
good,
See
man.
that? That's dope, man.
Favor is not fair. God is amazing.
Facts.
Crazy.
Damn.
Yeah,
The tunnel.
Yeah, the tunnel. Right. Yeah, still, I want you. So, do you have any specific? So, I would think that, especially the tunnel, because I'm
So many stories.
I've grown up hearing about
Yeah,
it.
I had grown up hearing about it. I was like after the tunnel, so I never been to the tunnel, but I've heard stories. I've seen even like a documentary on it. It seems like it was very dangerous per se in there.
Yeah. I could tell you 2 funny stories.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah.
One was I went there, and this is back when still the era was wilding.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you remember what the word wilding meant.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Wilding was just anarchy.
Right.
Just pure, young, foolish, evil.
Fuckery.
What the young kids would call now crashing
just
out.
jumping people for no reason and robbing people.
Right.
Doing all kinds of dumb shit while you're young until someone dies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I never forget, I was going into the tunnel,
Around what year is this?
98 and 99,
Okay.
maybe 97 when I started. But as I was walking into the tunnel, what was it? The Octagon. I see a guy, like the crew that was in front of me, I was not with them.
Okay.
But you know when you go in the club and if someone else was allowed in, it might be like 4 people, you're like right behind them because they checked you for weapons and all.
Right.
And before you know it, that crew saw a crew they had beef with. And I still remember the guy, they started to yell at each other. Nothing was stopping them from cracking.
Chaos.
Yeah.
So I see the guy in front of me pull out a gun. And now he's got his gun out. And you would think the other group would be like afraid and
Right,
run
like
away.
scatter or nothing.
They all suddenly pulled out their guns.
A good old Western.
I still remember the smell of like, they would just pop, 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 pop.
Wow.
Right in the hallway. Like, who got shot? Who, I don't know, like whatever. Like this is, so I got out of there and I was with my boy Vernon Siders and we were running because it was just anarchy. We looked back and the gunmen are chasing us.
Thinking you part with the crew.
And we thought we were slick. We ran to like a phone booth, which is, I don't even
Old
know
school shit. They don't got phone booths
and we
anymore.
were just like, we were acting like we were on the phone.
Yeah.
The dude ran up and goes, "Yo, you with them?" We were like, "No, we're from Long Island."
Yeah.
They're like, "I get the fuck out of here," and we dipped.
Wow.
But
That's
another crazy story was
That's a crazy-
Shout out to the tunnel.
Yo, man.
another crazy story was a guy when I was leaving the club. This guy had I think he was like maybe Puerto Rican. He was definitely Latino. He had a white tee on. This is when the tees went like down, like the Elijah Rabbit.
We know about that.
Yeah.
And a fight broke out, and he was leaving. And I swear to y'all, he had a white shirt with a like as if someone took a Sharpie.
Yeah.
And just from the top of his neck down to his butt, it was like a red line. When he took his shirt off, someone with a box cutter opened his back open.
Ate his food, yeah.
That shit went like this, like the mist of a spray.
That's how it was squirted out.
Blood, yeah. I was like, all right, it's time for me to get out of here.
Yeah. All right, man. You got any good stories out here?
My question to you is, like, when you go out all the time, were you always with your camera or you had days off? Because I know you were grinding.
Always.
Even now, I don't like to hang out. If I can't make money, what is there hanging out?
I'm gonna keep it real. I was surprised you have your cat where you walked up here. This might be the first time I ever see you. So I bet you didn't have your cat with you. But I feel like it's put the car somewhere.
Well, I would love for you guys. It's funny you said that, Joseph, because May 6th in Edgewater, there's a real amazing, a beautiful restaurant called Caviar.
Okay.
And it's in Edgewater. You can Google it. I don't know the address, but May 6th, they're honoring me, and I'm going to have an exhibit of never before
Clap
seen
that
works.
up, man. Put the bomb on that, definitely.
So
Drop the bomb on
Edgewater
that.
is in New Jersey.
Yeah,
that's right.
May 6th. And I would love for you guys to come down. You'll see some rare images of from the tunnel to maybe Red Zone, Sound
absolutely.
Factory.
Definitely. We're definitely in there.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate
Not a
that. Yeah,
podcast. On
man.
behalf of Not a Podcast,
we would definitely be in the building. May 6th,
Hold up.
100%.
You see some crazy stuff.
Man, Johnny Nunez.
Should write that down.
Yo,
Yeah, I got it.
I
May
see
6th.
everybody popped up. I said when you asked, like, yo, you know who he is? I'm like, yeah, I remember one time you popped up in Vegas. I was like, oh shit.
He's everywhere.
I was like,
Vegas.
we was with Kiss, we was with everybody backstage, and you just flicking it. I'm like, yo, I just seen him in New York.
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
seen him over here. He's in Vegas over here. He be outside, yo.
Now, Johnny, you have a relationship now with a lot of artists, a lot of people you take pictures of, you shoot. How was it at the beginning when they didn't know who you were, when you were like starting coming up? Because now we go around, it's like almost an honor to get your picture taken by Johnny Nunez. Right before, you probably were just coming up.
You had
like,
to work your way.
Yeah, you had to work your way there. So how was it?
Johnny Nunez?
Yeah, how was it at the beginning? How was it at the beginning?
So the beauty of photography is you kind of like you eat what you kill. Okay. You shoot what you like. You shoot what you know. You shoot what you like. You work with the things that you know. So like, I don't know sports that well, but I've been blessed to be the personal photographer to like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, just to name a few. Derek Jeter, and you know,
some of the
just some guys there, right?
Yeah. You know? But even though I don't know the sports, the thing is, if you meet them when they're young, and that's why when certain artists and athletes and socialites see me, they have an affection, an affinity. Or, you know, just a joy to see me. Right. Only because when they first started, nobody knew who it was, but I still shot them. Right. So when there's someone who's the first artist to perform at SOBs, I try to make sure I shoot them first because that's the next fucking Lady Gaga.
Know. Right. You never know.
That's the next fucking Eminem.
And that's why he has those photos, that catalog.
And you become friends with them, and sometimes they remember you, sometimes they don't. But I don't take it personal because at least I know I'm part of the hip hop fabric where my photo of you made it in the magazine that now quenched people's curiosity of who is this girl? Who is this guy? Who is this group? So from the 90s, luckily for me, growing up loving hip hop, I knew the artists that I was photographing. Okay. And I knew a lot of the artists growing up in Brentwood, Long Island. When my dad moved us from Brooklyn, I was like, Dad, man, you know, why we're leaving Brooklyn, about to go into seventh grade, you know, I'll probably get a girlfriend one day, you know, like the whole nine. But Dad's like, listen, Johnny, I swear, it's gonna all make sense. You trust Papi, I got you. And I had a tia, Titi Ouija, she lived out there, and my Uncle Hector, they wanted to live as if they were in Puerto Rico. Okay. So we had chickens, we had ducks, we had pigs. We literally lived like
it's in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rican hillbillies. Yeah. So I said it to say that when I got out there, I was like, this can't be my life. I mean, so my dad's like,
Brooklyn to that.
My dad was like, yo, listen, it's safer here because crack was becoming an epidemic in my neighborhood and people were getting killed. Yeah. And so my dad's like, listen, we're leaving Brooklyn behind. It's going to be a better life here in Long Island. And mind you, Brentwood was beautiful. We had lightning bugs. Yeah. We had like these silkworms that came out at night, and you just walk through the street and be hit with like 100 little spider
You could see the stars, no pollution. You know what I mean?
So the next day, my first day at East Junior High School, as I was approaching the school, I see a SWAT team telling all the students to go back. Helicopters, guys with M16s.
That's crazy.
I was like, I went back home. I was like, Dad. He's like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be in school. I'm like, the police told us to go back home. Yeah. Columbine was one of the first school shootings, but Brentwood, Long Island was really the first before Columbine.
Oh shit! Oh wow!
A disgruntled attempt, like what do you call those teachers that sit in for a teacher?
A substitute teacher.
A disgruntled substitute teacher came back with a rifle, shot the principal, Wolfgang, in the face. And luckily for him, the bullet broke his jaw and he laid on the floor, taking the blood and putting it all over his head.
Sheesh.
So when the gunman came by, he nudged him with the muzzle and then thought he was dead. He played dead. Then he went to the cafeteria and he locked it with a chain and he held all the kids kidnapped.
Wow.
So a sniper had to shoot through the glass and give him one to the dome.
Wow.
So I was like, Dad, you bring me from Brooklyn to that.
Talking about better word.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell is this? But there was EPMD going on, just graduating from my school, Eric Sermon and Parrish Smith, making dollars. There was Craig Mack. There was up the block, Keith Murray. Down the block was Rakim. Little by little, I started to get a little pride to be part of Brentwood and, breakdancing and all that stuff.
Let's go.
And then growing up with straight up pure crazy Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, it got even crazier. So Brentwood is just an amazing upbringing.
I have a question kind of off the thing, but I was wondering. You talk about, Long Island and everything like that. What borough, I don't want to get you in trouble, right? But what borough you think has the most hip-hop stars?
Legends.
The legendary borough.
That's a good question. Certain artists, I would love to say their name, but
I don't want to get you in trouble back in.
But certain artists are from Bayshore, Long Island. They claim Queens, but they're from Bayshore.
I was gonna say Queens.
Queens is pretty
I want to say there's not really one borough, but like, if you add Rakim is Wyandanch, Freeport was Freeport and
Freeport's Long Island, right?
is I think Busta Rhymes and these are New School,
right?
And you had Craig Mack and Biz Markie was from Brentwood. He lived up the block on Noble Street.
Okay.
So I was like really excited to be in Brentwood. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, but it was, that's about it. Like, I think Brentwood, where I grew up, was probably the most because you had Craig Mack, Biz Markie, EPMD.
All legends. Legends.
And DJ Caleb Boss and DJ, oh my God, Diamond J.
Okay.
No, Diamond J, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's go.
I hear you too. You said Queens. I think I would say Queens. It's between Queens and Brooklyn. I think it's Iris, but believe it or not, I would say probably Queens too, man, because Queens got a lot of people. Man. Nas, 50,
mad people.
Run DMC, you know what I'm saying? They got a lot,
Queens got some money.
Queens got some money.
Get the money. $1 bill, y'all.
Yeah, man. Just wondering.
So I got
Shout
a
out
question
to
for
the
you.
Queen niggas.
Yeah, shout out to Queens. So I got a question for you. How did you hone your own style of photography? Like, because I know you said you had no training. You took the camera, point and shoot. And then how do you, because you clearly have a vision and you do have a style where it stands out.
Yeah, thank you. I try to capture the artists in I try to get them in rare form. There's a photo that another photographer, a white French female photographer, they will give her the credit, but it's really my photo because I didn't have a digital camera at the time. But a lot of photographers that don't know the hip hop culture, they'll watch me and they'll wait to see
your moment,
what I'm setting up. Okay. Then when I go to get the shot, they'll just take their camera like this.
Yeah.
So Cameron with a pink of a baby fat phone with a pink fur. That's my photo.
That's your photo. It's iconic. That camera was big. It's
but
iconic.
I was shooting film. It wasn't digital.
Yeah.
So because hers was digital, it went viral. But that's my shot.
Okay.
That's
sort of like
shot.
when an MC steals your lyrics.
Yeah.
Or a comedian steals your jokes.
Right.
So then
that's one of, I think to me, that's one of my favorite
that's
rapper
that's
photos.
an iconic photo, 100%.
So unfortunately, I had, when I lived in Washington Heights, there was a flood above my the neighbor above me. The neighbor above me, we had a flood, and so the water from their apartment went down and destroyed probably half of all my negatives. In that was the cam pictures. So I was like devastated that popularity was something I created, but now someone else is eating off of it.
Yeah.
So fast forward the story, as I was looking through my archives, I found one last picture from that shoot. Whoa. I was like, so now I'm gonna
save that you could get
the proof to show that you
Oh yeah, I know it's mine. If you know hip hop, even Killer, if you look at the Instagram, you'll see Killer always acknowledging it.
Yeah,
because I told him to hold the phone, make it look like you talking.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't know who Killer was, you didn't know who Killer was.
Right.
Facts.
So
shout out to Killer.
Shout out to Cam. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Mixing them facts.
Yeah.
That is
That's dope. That's super fire.
But,
yeah.
But to answer your question, I usually like to try to see the photo in my mind before I get the photo. So like at the exhibit I have coming up, or the honoring at Caviar, I'm gonna finally show a piece of Jay-Z and Nas toasting with.
Iconic.
It's the same one that's in DJ Khaled's living room in Miami, and I call it the Trinity because you got J-Hove, Nas, and on Jay's shirt after the anniversary of Biggie's death, his sweatshirt says Notorious.
Nice.
So it's like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So that one's gonna be on
That's
display.
fire. That's
as well.
fire.
Boy.
That one's gonna be on display.
May 6th. May
Yeah,
6th will be
6th.
there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, book. I mean, before we get to the segment.
All right, real
Yeah,
quick.
one more.
Yeah, one more.
One more thing, I hurt my knee, so that's why I got my leg.
Nah, it's all right.
yeah.
I ain't trying to be all.
Let the viewers know, man.
I ain't trying to be all fancy.
They like, yo, Johnny, man.
Yeah, like a little. I may have to get surgery. I don't know.
Oh shit, man.
It's all good.
It's real quick. It's just a quick
Yeah, sure.
question. You've been around all these hip hop artists. Who was your favorite artist that you got an actual chance to film? I know it's probably
really,
a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, I love Fat Joe. I love.
told you to say
Common, Nas, Hov, Rakim,
Man,
Neo.
legends. All legends.
All legends.
I got a chance to shoot Sade.
Oh, man.
That was
A lot of
amazing.
people don't get to see Sade.
She's gorgeous.
That's fire.
You know, a lot of great artists,
Sade,
man. I got to work with so many artists. It's just endless.
That's
Had different relationships with them as well.
Dope.
Yeah.
So Johnny, we have a segment on the show.
Yeah.
It's called Bugs Famous 5.
5 questions.
Right, he's gonna ask you 5 questions.
Short ones.
And just give you, answer your best answer. All right. So here we go. Boogie's Famous 5. Question number 1.
What's your favorite dish?
Wow. My favorite dish is camarones al ajillo. With white
That
rice
garlic
and
shit.
red beans.
Yeah, the rice and beans.
And tostones.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. I mean, I gotta say it's my go-to.
Fire.
That's one.
All right, we respect that.
Yo, fuck
we
with
all
that.
agree with that
I
one.
agree with that one.
Rice and beans.
So
is good.
number 2,
Question number 2.
what challenges have you faced in your photography journey?
Well, there's always glass ceilings, and there's always going to be gatekeepers in any business or discipline. There's always going to be, if you wasn't at a discipline when it was created, or company, or a job, if there was someone that did it before you, or a company that existed before you, there's always going to be rivalries.
Okay.
Always.
You know, they're not going to be like, I'm on top of the hill. Why are they trying to come up top? You know, mess them up.
Right.
Don't let them get up here. You know.
Right.
But what was the question again? 'Cause I just,
Like what was the challenges
Just that you face.
you know,
in your face in your journey?
the
your
Recording
photography journey?
Academy of Music. Now I'm officially, I think, the first African American Latino Recording Academy of Music photographer.
Fire. Wow.
That was a glass ceiling that was kind of hard to break.
Nice.
I found that out later, but shout out to Felicia Butterfield and Harvey Mason, my brother and my sister, for giving me the opportunity, along with the Black Coalition Action, Black Music Action Coalition, and the other organization, which it's slipping my mind. The corona's kicking in. But,
Allegedly.
I'm gonna find it.
The red cup of water. That's water.
But and then also getting into the VMAs. Shout out to
Just legendary shit.
to Marva Smalls for giving me the chance at the VMAs, and now I run that shit.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
talk that shit, Johnny.
Facts.
Talk that shit. All right.
The other photographers, they're cool, but they move like
You Godfather.
they was
You're the
there.
Godfather, bro.
But that's to my advantage, because while they're still trying to get one group, I'm trying to get everybody.
Everybody. Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? And I listen to the music of the artists I'm shooting.
You're not just there
White,
shooting.
black, Latin, LGBTQ. I love all music of all genres. I'm not trying to make one group banging and everybody else
Right.
secondary.
Right.
Like,
Fire.
you can't make
That's a gem right there.
That's a gem right there.
Yeah.
Facts.
gem right there.
All right. Question number 3.
Number 3, if you can take a dinner with anybody in the world, who would it be?
take a dinner to anyone. Well, I'm living or
Living.
This only living. Okay.
Living.
If I could take someone to dinner.
A sit down dinner with anybody.
Boy, sit down dinner. I think a sit down dinner would be, I do it all the time, but my wife.
Okay.
Hey, smooth.
Great answer.
Smooth operator again.
That's good.
Fire. That's a great one.
She's amazing. She's like she fulfills my whole life. Without her, I don't know where I would be.
Shout out, man. God bless.
Shout out to wife.
Shout out to your wife, man. Shout out to your wife. All right, number 5. Last but not least, number 5.
Number 4. Or number 4? Number 4.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Okay, there you go. My bad. Yeah. Dead or alive, who was the person you wanted to shoot?
That you never got a chance.
You never got a chance to
shoot.
Let me see. I would have liked to shoot Dead or Alive. Wonder. I think I would love to have shot Jimi Hendrix, the whole group, Fleetwood Mac. I know a few of them passed away. I would have loved to have shot Hector Lavoe. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Hector Lavoe.
I would have loved to shoot.
Yeah, that bonus one.
Man, who else would I love to shoot? Maybe Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.
Another one. This would have been a fire.
Legendary.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's so many. It's a great question.
Wow.
Thank you.
So, but we usually do final 5, but we're here with the legendary Johnny Nunez. So he get a bonus question. Last bonus
Our
question.
first bonus question.
Our first bonus question on Not a Podcast. Go ahead.
Sony, Canon, or Nikon?
Canon.
Canon.
Canon, you heard that. Send it over.
Send it over to Johnny, baby.
If you drop a Canon, is a 50-50 chance or 75% chance that you just blow on it, shake off the dirt, it'll work. Sony and Nikon, if you tell a bad joke to it,
It's not as durable.
It's a very emotional camera.
Very emotional camera.
So
I had to ask him about the camera.
we got the information we needed. Now we know what camera
What camera we need to buy? Facts.
Canon is very important. I'm a Canon man all day.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny, is there anything, now before we go, we'll wrap up the show. Before we go, is there anything you want to promote, anything you want to say, anybody want to shout out?
Cat Skins, which is a patented invention that is a utility that it pretty much protects your baseball cap from the elements. We're about to relaunch soon. Cap Skins is spelled with a Z. Okay. And when you if you can on Instagram, check it out. Also,
How you find them on Instagram?
Cap Skins.
Okay.
Cap Skins.
And shout out to Goat Fuel Energy Drink.
Goat Fuel.
Goat
Let's
Fuel.
go.
Yes, a very big announcement should be made soon.
Okay.
They now have the Babe Ruth Goat Fuel Energy can, limited edition. I think they also have Jerry Rice, who's one of the founders of Goat Fuel. What else can we shout out?
May 6th.
Shout out to May 6th.
May 6th.
Yeah. What else? Wow. Shout out to Alicia Butterfield and her new company called Seed, which is making films for everyone, but predominantly by women of color and people of color.
Definitely shout that out.
And what else? Man, I hope I don't forget anything. So many. Also Bizio, the Bizio, which is another new search engine coming out.
Okay.
It's going to be amazing. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, Happy Monkey.
Okay.
You know,
there you go.
They're going to have a 420 party.
Yo,
Check them out on Dykeman to get more information.
Happy Monkey. My people's old that spot. That's crazy. There's Jacob. Yeah, that's funny.
You know, what else? Partnership. What is it? Oh, Pop Viewers, which is actually out of New Jersey. Okay. It's a rating system as well as they have these amazing Q&As with actors and actresses and film directors called Vibes and Views. So shout out to Pop Viewer. Download the app. It's amazing. It's sort of like a remote control for all these platforms. So you want to see horror, go on Pop Viewer to show you what films, what platforms are showing you.
What we want to say on the part of Not a Podcast, it's an honor to have you here, man.
Thank you.
Legendary,
really is.
You're a legendary fabric of hip hop, man. It's dope as hell to have you here, man.
Yeah,
we really want to shout you out for coming to the show.
I was scrolling through his Instagram and some of the photos that I've seen young, I have no idea.
Yeah, that it was him shooting.
It's crazy.
So
iconic.
Yeah, but wrap it up. So
y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Holly Boogs.
It's your boy Watts.
It's your boy Grizzly Green.
And this is Not a Podcast with our boy Johnny Nunez.
Let's go.
All love.
Let's go.
Thank you.
This is not a podcast.
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 This is not a podcast.